What's up, dipshits? It is currently 12:41 a.m. in the morning on a Friday night, and since I'm still currently unemployed and my new job does not start until a week from now, I have quite literally nothing to do. Now, I feel the majority of you are probably going to suggest that I take my happy ass to bed. Well, to that suggestion, I say no. I will not take my happy ass to bed because I have a variety of things on my mind at the moment, and since I have quite literally nothing better to do with my life, I've decided to share them with you. So, here are three things that keep Papa Potato up at night, and number one is the Dark Force theory. Now, we're going to get into some sci-fi territory temporarily. Now, I'm sure that you, as well as billions of other humans across history, have had this simple question pop into their mind, which is, if our universe is so incredibly vast that trillions and quadrillions of planets and stars occupy it across 2 trillion separate galaxies, why the hell have we not interacted with any aliens yet? Well, there is a theory that explains this in the most terrifying goddamn way possible, and that theory is that there are hundreds, if not thousands, of other species out there on hundreds, if not thousands, of other planets out there. The only issue is they're all doing their best to remain as silent as possible, because if they pipe up and they draw attention to themselves, they will be fucking wiped out in literal seconds. The best way for me to paint this portrait without sounding like a jackass is imagine a forest, a beautiful dense forest stuffed with gorgeous greenery, amazing place, breathtaking, and that greenery is filled with a variety of separate animals. I'm talking rabbits and rats and cats and dogs and bluebirds, blue jays, anything. I'm talking 17, 18,000 different animals all occupying that single forest, with one of them being a brown bear, a hulking, aggressive, violent brown bear that no one in that forest is powerful enough to fight off. Now, while the other animals are intelligent enough to shut the fuck up to avoid drawing attention to themselves and risk getting mauled by that aforementioned brown bear, one of the animals, which I'll personally say is the chimpanzee because humans and chimpanzees are closely related, refuses to shut the fuck up and continues to draw attention to itself. The other animals constantly do their best to avoid the brown bear's gaze and attention so they don't fucking die, but because the chimpanzee is too goddamn stupid to read the room, it continues to scream and yell at the top of its lungs. What if that's what's happening with our universe? I've always believed in life out in the universe, sentient and insentient. And one idea that's always haunted me is the idea that one of those species is actively picking off the others that pose an objective threat to that. What if it's the same thing with our reality? What if us refusing to shut the fuck up will end up as an active detriment towards our species, as a more powerful species that sees us as a possible threat or just sees us as a plain annoyance and nuisance, which I couldn't blame it for, decides to come after us? They could be doing it right now. We will be none the wiser. What if they have technology that's impossible for us to detect, technology that's impossible for us to comprehend? Who knows? At this very moment, there could be billions of ships descending towards Earth, ready to bomb it to cinders, and there's nothing we could do to know or fight it off, because we wouldn't have enough time to prepare. Keep that in mind when you go to bed tonight. Okay, number two, extra-dimensional beings. Again, we are once again drifting into sci-fi territory, and one idea of these beings has stuck with me ever since I was a little kid. And that's the idea that extra dimensional beings are ghosts. Hear me out. I believe in ghosts, but this theory explains ghosts in a more scientific manner. It says that ghosts are not actually deceased humans, the detached souls of long dead humans. Instead, they are simply beings from higher planes of existence watching over us and interacting with us. That may sound utterly fucking stupid to you, but to me, it makes a hell of a lot of sense. If I, a third dimensional being, were to be randomly dropped into a two-dimensional world, those beings would most likely not be able to comprehend me. They probably wouldn't even be able to see me. Like the Tesseract from that one episode of Space Dandy. It's just an abnormal, anomalous, shifting mass of shapes. Because that's all creatures like us can interpret it as. It's simply too goddamn complex for us to imagine and explain in a way that makes sense for us to even see. That could very easily be the exact same thing that's happening with these extra dimensional beings. They could be around us right now. There could be one on my bed, there could be one with me in the shower, there could be one following me when I walk around, and I wouldn't be able to see or understand it because it's so high on the totem pole that I, a third dimensional creature, would not be able to look it in the eye. I wouldn't even be able to know it's there. And since an extra dimensional being would logically be able to control reality in general, there's a good chance it can just make itself invisible so I don't see it. So, that's something I certainly need to think about when I'm sleeping with my window open, or I'm taking a shower, or I'm just chilling outside enjoying the vibe. That there could be some creepy extra dimensional motherfucker watching me, touching me, watching me and touching me, like I'm in a prison. Speaking of prison, we have number 3 on things that keep me up at night. Just prison in general. The idea of getting bent over and having my ass cheeks taken has always terrified me to the core. Nothing scientific to explain about it. Just the idea of some big 6'8" motherfucker named Tyrone bending me over and stuffing me like a goddamn kebab is enough to make me wake up in the middle of the night in a cold sweat, screaming like it already happened. However, that does bring me to another point. Dreams. Now, this may sound very science fantastical, and it sounds really fucking stupid now that I say it out loud, but I've always believed that dreams are simply glimpses into parallel realities, parallel timelines, or other universes in general that happen to have a variation of you existing within its borders. That explains why I can never dream at nighttime. Whenever I fall asleep, I only ever dream during the day. And the reason that's the case is most likely because when I fall asleep at nighttime, all the other variations of Elijah Beasley are currently asleep, so there's no body for me to enter. Pause. However, during the day, the majority of Elijahs throughout the time stream and possibly Omniverse are still awake. So I can occupy their bodies and experience their bizarre, terrifying fucking realities. And what makes that objectively terrifying and not cool is the sheer amount of bizarre, creepy, and nonsensical dreams I've had. I've had dreams where there were faces adorning my wall, all yelling and screaming at me. I've had dreams where Elmer or Riley are anthropomorphized creatures about my height, with human cat faces, trying to talk to me and trying to touch me. I've had dreams where I've killed my parents. I've had dreams where I've been killed by other people. I've had dreams where I've gone to spaces I haven't been in literal decades, to the point of where they're warped beyond belief. Like a dream where I went into my school and everyone had no face. I don't want to imagine what the hell a reality like that would be like for someone that has to live in that 24/7. Instead of simply occupying it for a good 5 to 10 minutes before being ripped from it by my consciousness. But, in all honesty, that makes a lot of sense. My reality is normal to me, but to an Elijah Beasley existing in a timeline where humans don't exist, and instead we evolved from fish, we probably look fucking terrifying. Like, imagine randomly waking up in a universe where people are dogs. Everyone is a dog-human hybrid. Would you not be fucking terrified of that? You would, because you're completely unused to the experience. You're completely unused to being in a reality like that. But someone who's grown up in that, it's completely normal to them. Now, I personally believe in other universes or even other timelines specifically. I've always believed that every decision you make results in another branch in the tree we call reality growing, in another reality with a completely different or vaguely similar outcomes burning from that. But the idea of how many realities are out there boggles my mind. It may not be infinite, but it could be in the quintillions, sextillions, and septillions. Even beyond that, think about the sheer amount of Elijahs there are out there. There could be an Elijah that's a flaming homosexual. There's an Elijah that's a furry. There's an Elijah that's a zoophile. There's an Elijah that's a pedophile. An Elijah that has a beard. An Elijah that's 6'2". An Elijah that's doing time for vehicular manslaughter. An Elijah that fucked my bad second grade teacher. Damn, if I could go back and tap that, I would. But I'm a man of God, so that's off limits. There's an Elijah that's a serial killer. There's an Elijah that's a pastor. There's probably an Elijah that's the President of the United States of America, despite being only 17 years of age. I don't want to know how laws in that timeline works. But the sheer amount of parallel me's boggles my mind. And also the sheer idea that I may not be the original. I may view myself as the protagonist of this reality. All of you are side characters. All of you. None of you are the protagonist. I am. But there's a very good chance I'm not even occupying the reality, the base reality. Because similar to a tree, a time stream has a trunk where everything grows from it. So I may not even be occupying the trunk. I may simply be a branch with a slight difference in it to make it distinct in comparison to everything else on that tree. And that makes me question what base Elijah is like. How different is base Elijah from me, Elijah? Is base Elijah gay? Does base Elijah want to be a screenwriter and director like me? Does base Elijah maintain my love of cats? Does base Elijah maintain my love of big booty Asian chicks? Something to think about. I may not even be the original. I could simply be a parallel variation of myself from a parallel timeline that grew after base Elijah forgot breakfast and ran off to school. Something to think about. Anyways, I'm going to go sit outside and question my existence. It's been 13 minutes of time that I've wasted. Catch you guys later.